What's up, knife freaks, sharpest geeks, and purveyors of stabby goodness? Welcome to the Knife Freak Show. My name is Jonathan McNeese, joined by my co-host, Miss Amy McNeese.
What's up, guys?
Fresh-ish off of Blade Show, Texas. Maybe not feeling super fresh. Kind of a rough week coming back from working the whole weekend, coming back from a show, and then jumping back into the thick of it.
Man, what a show.
Man, it was a fantastic show, guys. So this episode is going to revolve mostly around kind of an after-action report from the show, and it was phenomenal. It was a really, really good show, guys. And all the other exhibitors that we talked to said the same thing. All the customers seemed to really be having a good time and enjoying themselves and happy with everything. So it was fantastic.
I think that we were more consistently busy the entire show at this show than any other show we have done in the past.
Yeah, I think so. I think some of that is probably, if Atlanta was a 2-day show, it would probably be basically that busy start to finish. But Sunday always trails off in Atlanta, so it makes it get a little slower towards the end. But yeah, it was fantastic. I think, we did considerably more sales this year than we did last year at the show, and I do think that some of that is due to the fact that we had some new offerings. We had our rock texture in all three models. We actually had all three models there instead of just one or two models. We had a lot of good variety. Actually, we had a couple of different fixed blade models as well. So I think that is part of it. But everybody else, like I said, had a really good show too. So I think the show itself was just exceptional.
Yeah.
And big shout out to Alicia and the crew Alicia and Woody at the crew at Blade Show that put it on, because they did a phenomenal job. It was a really good show. I very much enjoyed it this year. We always like going to Texas. Texas is kind of our kind of place,
Well, everything is so convenient.
It is.
You walk right across to the show, and there's a gazillion restaurants right there, walking distance, and it just makes it so easy and nice when you're so tired from standing up all day.
Yeah, it does. It's very convenient. It's just a kind of a cool place, so I really enjoy it. And we drove. And that's the longest drive we make to a show. About the longest drive we make anywhere, honestly. Going there for us was close to 11 hours by the time we made all of our stops and everything. But that's about our limit on driving to shows. When we go to Utah, we fly, of course. But it's nice when we can drive, because we can load our own folding tables up and stuff and take them, and we don't have to rent tables and all that good stuff. So it's more convenient in a way. It's just a lot of times sitting in the truck, which is probably rougher on you than it is me, because you're stuck in a truck with me for 11 hours. But it's all right.
Of course, we would probably be a little bit more recovered by now if it weren't for our new little addition that came bopping up Monday, when we were going to take it easy.
Yeah, I decided we were going to come in, because we drove home Sunday, so we were going to drove all day, and actually we didn't get home till late Sunday night, and we were going to take it easy Monday and let the guys just handle things at the shop. And I made a trip out to the shop to check in, and as I got back from the shop that morning, there's a little puppy out of the blue that's hanging out in the driveway, and we got her to come to us, and took her and went around, and all the neighbors and everybody we could find, try to see where she belonged, and put it on Facebook. And anyway, looks like she was probably somebody. There's a prime spot kind of up the road here where it's kind of a bad place for people just stop and, unfortunately, let dogs out, kind of dump them out.
Too, so.
Yeah, Roscoe, that you guys have seen us talk about before, he just showed up one day too. So anyway, we spent the day with trying to babysit a new puppy in the house, and anybody local enough to come drive and get a puppy, if you're in the market for a puppy, we've got one.
You're in driving distance, I'll bring her to you.
Yeah, no kidding. We would love to find her a good home. We're kind of dog poor already, so we're hanging on and keeping her safe and protected and well fed until we can find her a forever home. But anyway, yes, that definitely made Monday a little less relaxing.
Well, that's kind of made the whole week.
than it would have been. It's made it a little hectic. Yeah, it has. But that's okay. I couldn't stand the thought of her just roaming free and not having anything to eat or getting run over or whatever. So anyway, moving on. So yes, the show was fantastic, and what I'm hoping, the show was so good, I'm really hoping it's a sign that maybe the overall knife economy is picking up. And it was kind of weird because, obviously gas prices spiked right before we went, and it may just be that hasn't had time to really affect the overall economy that much yet, and maybe it won't. Maybe it'll go back down before it has time to. The overall market at the show was fantastic. So if that just carries over throughout the year, I think we'll be in really good shape. Yeah. So, we all know that the knife market's been a little slow the last year to really about 2 years. So I felt really encouraged by how well things were going at the show. Like everybody was there. There were lots of people buying knives. Like I said, it was basically a record show for us, and
everybody was so happy.
Oh yeah,
upbeat and like.
Yeah, you wouldn't to listen or watch the news and stuff. Like you wouldn't. It was like the exact opposite of what you would have expected people to be. Like people were just.
Good thing we don't listen to or watch the news.
Yeah, no kidding. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe there's something to that. Maybe this was a nice break from all the other crap that gets shoved down our throats every day with, bad news and this, that, and going on and all that and the pressures and stuff. So maybe that was part of why everybody was just so in such a good mood and everything. But, it was fantastic. Like just the atmosphere, everything was really, really good. So that being said, if you haven't been to Blade Show, Texas, and you can possibly swing it next year, I would definitely plan on, because it's gotten progressively better every year.
That's my favorite Blade Show.
Yeah.
By far.
After this year's show, I think I would agree, just in general. Atlanta's always cool. We do have a lot of, sentimental, I guess, ties with Atlanta, because that's the show we've done for the longest, and like we said, 17 or 18 years now, something like that. And so there's that. But as far as actually enjoying the show and the surrounding area and all that, I do think I agree with you. I think Texas was probably my favorite. That's really cool.
It was hot this year.
Yeah.
We've had cold, we've had rainy, and now we've had scorching hot.
Yeah. But they did not, it was not hot inside. They kept it nice and cool in there, and we weren't really we were inside the entire time during the heat of the day, so it wasn't that big a deal. It was not bad. We found a couple of nice restaurants to eat at and really cool places, and didn't get to eat with all of our friends and people that we would have liked to have, but did get to eat with some of them and greatly enjoyed that. That's always one of the highlights of the show for us.
We also failed because you had steak one night, but you go to Texas for steak, right?
Yeah, steak or brisket or yeah. We had pizza the first night, and no, we got there late.
First night we had.
I had a burger.
You
right?
had a burger. I had a pizza.
We did. So we got there late. Like it was late when we got there. It was past going out time. So we got some Uber Eats delivered to the room, and I got a burger. She had a quesadilla, which those were good, but yeah, and pizza. And then the next night I had steak, but you had something else, a fusion
beef.
Yeah, but anyway,
yeah,
good. There's good steakhouses there. We have had steak there in the past. It's good. There's lots of options there for good food to eat. So probably too many.
So next year we have to plan ahead and go to the stockyards and actually eat
some
steak.
Good Texas steak. Yeah. That wouldn't take much convincing on my part. So let's see. I would like to tell you some highlights of the show as far as what else was there, but to be honest with you, we don't really have any idea because...
it's funny. I kept seeing all these different posts in the different knife Facebook groups saying, I'm not seeing any footage from Blade, Texas, but I think it's because everybody was so busy and didn't really have time to post any content. We barely even had time to take pictures.
Oh, yeah. I set my camera up in the booth, planning on taking some time-lapse video and stuff with it, and didn't even get it set up and figured out before we hit a rush, and then never had time to As a matter of fact, I forgot it was on and let the battery die. But that's fine. That's totally secondary. But it was. I mean, it was nonstop, like in a good way. Like we had customers were just totally constantly coming by. And so a lot of you, most of you that have watched or listened to the show, on the last show we were talking about pet peeves and stuff from the show, and I went on a little bit about how exhibitors should, be respectful to the customers and all that good stuff. And then we used a clip of that video and put it on Instagram and YouTube as a separate clip, and it got a lot of attention. We had multiple people come up to us. I guess it was on Saturday. I think we posted it on maybe on Friday evening or something. And then on Saturday, I had multiple people come up and thank me for, saying that and whatever. I mean, to be honest, it just seemed like normal, common courtesy to me, but it didn't seem controversial. But lots of good feedback on that. And I will say, well, again, we didn't really get to walk around the show, like almost none. We did, I guess I should say, we did sell out at the show, which is phenomenal. Like that's, you can't ask for better than that. So by the time we sold out on Saturday, there was a little bit of time left, and we had somebody kind of cover the booth for us so it wouldn't just be empty, and they could have called us if somebody, was just really looking for us, and we stepped out for 15 minutes maybe, something like that, but we weren't really wandering. We went straight to a couple of our friends.
I had to go get my E-Knife shirt.
Yeah, check that out. I got one too, but I don't have mine on today yet, but a little bit of diversity here. But these are our new shirts that we'll have on the website soon, so just, if you're on video and checking them out, if you're not, go check them out on YouTube. If you got any turkey hunters out there, I think you'll appreciate them. But yeah, the people that were within eyeshot of us during the show all seem to be doing a great job managing their booths and stuff. Like, I by no means did I mean to make it sound like most people do that, but there are some. I promise you, if you'd walked through the show, there would have been some that were, acting disinterested or whatever with their customers. But I don't think that's the majority. I think that's the minority. It's just unfortunate that anybody does it, but it's okay. That's their loss, because they will probably literally lose customers over it. So that's all right. We'll take them on.
Sure. I think it was very interesting for me to see. We had a lot of new dealer inquiries.
Yes.
And a lot of them are selling on Whatnot.
Yep.
So I'm curious to know what everybody thinks about Whatnot. Like,
yeah, that's a good, yeah.
Do y'all want to see our stuff on Whatnot? Is that, I'm not drawn to platforms like that, but that doesn't mean that Louie is not drawn to platforms like that. It's probably a good thing he doesn't have our credit card, right?
Yeah. Those of you on audio, that's one of our mini pups, and he's poking his head up back here. So just so you fill you in what we're talking about. But yeah, Whatnot, that was very interesting. I think we always have new dealer inquiries at shows, but it did seem like a bigger percentage this year. And I do think that Whatnot is part of that, because I think several of the people that came and inquired, if Whatnot was not their main thing, it was definitely a big thing that they were doing. And some of them, I think it was their main thing.
Well, and we already deal with Blade Runner Outpost, and they sell on Whatnot.
I think they're one of, if not the first biggest knife seller on there, of legitimate knives at least. So that's, they've kind of paved the way, and obviously anytime you do something you're successful at it, other people are gonna come along too. And as a matter of fact, Whatnot itself is really pushing to bring the knife community in, because they actually had reps walking around and approaching vendors and stuff. We talked to a rep, and I'm going to do a follow-up call with him. So
leave us a comment, send us an email, tell us. I mean, you may not even know what Whatnot is, but
if you don't, check into it and see what you think. And I'm actually pretty excited about it, and I think it would be a great platform. I mean, you guys can probably tell from all my videos and the stuff that I've been doing for years that I'm not shy about being on camera. I actually enjoy, and I love doing lives. I don't end up doing them as often as I would like, mainly because I know if I get on there, I'm not going to keep it short. I'm going to tie up an hour or more every time I get on there, so I don't do them very often. But but I really like the thought of that platform of being able to interact kind of in person. It's kind of the next best thing to being at an actual show, because you can, even though they can't.
Like doing an Instagram Live, except you're selling something, right?
Right, but I'm saying as far as like selling the knives or buying the knives, you're not getting to feel them, but you're not just looking at a static picture on a website or something either. You can ask questions, you can ask to show, see it at a different angle, you can ask to see the action, whatever. Like I really like a lot of the things about Whatnot, and we may very well. I'm thinking seriously about us starting to do. We won't do them super frequently, just because I don't think that will work with, It's a little easier for dealers because they have tons of brands to offer, so that it's not really ever any problem to have stuff to offer on there. For us, it's a little different because we only have our stuff. We got to have enough stuff made to be able to do that, plus fulfill all our other orders and obligations and stuff. So, but I think it would be a really cool venue to be able to interact with people more, and maybe sell some special stuff, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback on that, whether or not you would be interested in tuning in. If we, number one, just on, your thoughts on it in general, whether our dealers and stuff selling our stuff, and then number two, whether you would like to see us do a, semi-regular, like I'm thinking every other week at max, probably, maybe even just once a month, just depending on how often we could get a good batch of stuff ready for the show. So yeah, let us know about that, please. We would love to know. I'd love to get feedback before I potentially waste time getting on there and learning how to do it and getting it all set up and all that. And then
I'm also assuming that you're whether or not you're successful on it depends on how many followers you have.
Sure, yeah, on there, yeah, I'm sure, because obviously, I would think that more followers doesn't necessarily equate to more sales, but obviously, if there's more people there, there's a better chance of a decent number of people buying your stuff, So I guess it just kind of depends. And again, it's not like we would be selling huge volumes of stuff. It would be like limited, kind of smaller run stuff. And something else that they mentioned that I haven't really given a whole lot of thought to was that some of the people use it to sell like factory seconds kind of stuff, which we've never done. We've never sold any kind of factory second stuff. But
nope, they go straight to the recycling.
Yep. But I've thought in the past that as we get bigger, that's something we may have to consider doing. Obviously we have to find a way to market where it can't be changed. Like we can't just put a laser engrave something on the blade that somebody could send to a modder or somebody and blast it off and then try to pass it off as a perfectly brand new one or whatever. We have to find, like, I know Spyderco grinds a little notch in the blade, and that signifies that it's like in the spine, and signifies that it's a factory second. We could figure out a way to do it, because there are parts that we have that we scrap that could be turned into a functional knife. We just they don't meet our standards, so we don't do anything with them. So I don't know if we're going to do that or not, but that would be a potential option to do on there. And something like that, my biggest concern, not for us, because I know we'll not break our own rules, but my biggest concern with dealers and stuff is just making sure that they stick with our MAP pricing, because it is an auction site, and so we've actually had to already mention to one or two dealers that about that, because they'll put them on there, and you have to for us and other brands that have MAP pricing, you have to make sure you maintain that MAP pricing. You can't auction it and let it sell for less than that. But if we had something like a factory second, that MAP pricing doesn't really apply to that, so we could potentially give people a chance to get a deal. That would be my biggest motivating factor to do it, more so even than just us being able to use parts. Like, it would be a way we could offer people a chance to get something, and get a really good deal on it. And I think that would be fun. But yeah, you guys let us know if you're familiar, if you like it, go check it out if you haven't, and see what you think, and see if it seems like it would be a good platform for us to try, and give us your opinion on like what you think about our dealers being on there and that kind of stuff. So I kind of feel like it may not, I'm sure some other platform will pop up that's similar eventually, but I kind of feel like it's probably a little bit of the way of the future, honestly. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if even like Instagram or somebody ended up making it part of their platform where you had like a section on there where you could sell live like that. It wouldn't, of course, whether or not they would let us sell knives, who knows, because they're not wild about us even posting them on there. It doesn't seem like so. We'll have to see. But anyway, I do think it's got a lot of merit and a lot of fun things about it. So, all right. So, anything else about the show stick out to you?
Mm-hmm. I got asked the same question over and over and over. What did Jonathan change this time? And I have to say, I was wrong. I'm not wrong very often, so it does kind of leave a bitter taste in my mouth to actually say that. Well, am I?
No, you are not wrong very often. And full disclosure, if we hadn't done the video and you hadn't said that, there's a chance that I might have changed something, but I was on the spot, so I did not have anything.
Wrong, right?
I did not have anything in mind to change when you said that, but I definitely kind of made it a point to not change anything once you did say that. So
it's okay. I can be wrong once every 10 years.
You were not wrong about what I had done up to that point, because you were right. I've changed something every show up until this year, and my wheels are already turning about Atlanta too. Just so you know. I'm just not sure. I may want to expand the wooden part of our booth and make it all match, but we'll see.
I am okay with changes. It's the last minute. Oh my gosh, I've got to order this, and then you're like, it's not going to get here on time, and it's probably not going to get here on time, and
yeah,
it's those things.
That's pretty much how it goes.
It's not change. It's change at the last.
It's the chaos.
Minute. Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've always said, leading up to shows, you thrive on chaos, and I have to have the calm.
Yeah.
Because I have to get everybody packed and ready and everything taken care of like that. Make sure that we don't forget anything. And you're over here just running around like a crazy person.
Trying to squeeze everything in at the last minute and new ideas popping in my head at the last minute. Yeah. Yep, that's a pretty good descriptor of it. Yeah. I thrive on the chaos, and you're the exact opposite. So, but yes, and maybe, hey, maybe we're on to something, because you said that we didn't change anything, and then we had a record show. So maybe that's superstition. Maybe I just need to keep everything the same and see how it goes. We might have a record show every time. I'm going to have to start getting everything take pictures and videos so I can get everything exactly the same. It's going to...
You're taking a little too far now. We did get to show off the new foul play fixed blade.
We did.
Some people got a sneak peek at a smaller version of something.
Yep, they did. Some of you may have seen the videos out there. We did not. Nobody was allowed to record or take pictures of said smaller knife, but it is. The rumors are out there now. I guess they're more than rumors now. The word is out that something's coming. But that's going to be that's looking at a Blade Show Atlanta release for that particular thing, and I am super excited about that. I think it's going to go over really well, just because it hits a size that's right down the middle, kind of, for most people. That's a very popular size. So
it's actually right in the middle of the sizes of the Mac 2 3-inch and the Mac 2 3.5.
Yeah, so it's 3 1/4. We might as well go ahead and throw that out there. So it has a said unnamed knife has a 3 1/4 inch blade. So I think it's going to be just right. We got a little Goldilocks thing going on there. Not too big, not too small, just right. Let's see. And you mentioned the foul play. I was very excited about that. Some of you may not have seen it yet, but today, the day we're recording this, we actually just posted a picture of it on Instagram. So if you hear this and you haven't seen fixed blade that looks unfamiliar to you, go back a couple of days on our Instagram and check it out. It's basically a bird and trout knife. Again, kind of goes with the shirt. Kind of goes with the knife. I'm a turkey hunter. It's turkey season, and I was trying to get it done for turkey season, and I did, but not enough. I had enough to have prototypes done for turkey season, but we haven't gotten them actually out there and for sale yet. But soon we have some at Heat Treat that we're waiting to get back. And as soon as they get back, we'll be cranking some out to to sell. So really looking forward to that, and those are cool. And for those of you that have been paying attention to my stories and stuff on Instagram, we've got several other fixed blade models that are in the pipeline that are coming pretty soon. I showed a couple of them, and both the other ones that I showed they're smaller. They're like, to be pocket carry size fixed blades, which I know a lot of you like right now. So I'm really looking forward to getting those out there. One of them is a slightly modified version of one I used to do that I sold a ton of as customs, and another one is a pretty heavily modified version of one that I sold. It was actually my first fixed blade design, but it's different enough that it's almost unrecognizable as the same knife. But that was kind of what I sat down to do when I designed that one, was an updated version of that knife. So we're probably still going to keep the name and all, but it's definitely a fair bit different. But yeah, really excited about both of those. And we've got more, let's see. We got the Stalker coming, which is another fixed blade. Some of you have probably seen it. We haven't done many. I bet we've probably done 20, 25 maybe total. We haven't done enough of them to really put them out there to where, a lot of you probably haven't even seen them yet. Those of you that follow along closely, you may have seen them a few months ago, but it's more of a tactical fighter style knife, kind of a medium-sized fighter. And then we have the Pocket Tanto, hopefully coming relatively soon. It may not make it before Atlanta. I'm waiting on some custom wheels for our bevel grinder to be able to try to finish that out, because the wheels I currently have are too big to grind the Tanto. I explained that to several of you. Those of you that listen that were at the show and talked to me about Tantos, that's the holdup. That was the other biggest question I think we got answered. Was asked, yeah, do you bring any Tantos, and when are they coming? And I'll just tell you guys, like I told everybody at the show, they're coming as soon as I can figure out how to make them. I'm not intentionally not making them, guys. I would love to be cranking out Tantos right now. The new grinding method that we're doing, that we do for our high performance hollow grinds, like I said, the wheel that we're using to do those, it just, I can't get the grinds thin enough on the Tanto on the tip to make them look right the way I want to. And so I'm finally broke down and ordered some custom size wheels last week that it'll take a few weeks for them to get here, but I think that will solve the issue. So once I get that figured out and I can actually grind them, the way I want to, then we'll be making Tantos of all kinds of stuff. So we'll be making Tanto versions of I'll just go ahead and say we'll make Tanto versions of every folder that we make, and then we got, like I said, that Pocket Tanto fixed blade, and I'll probably get Tanto fever, maybe even do another different fixed blade with a Tanto. We'll see. So that's the update on that. Those of you that been waiting on them, I apologize. I promise I want to get them done. I just truly have not been able to yet. Don't know how, but I'm working on it, and I'll get it figured out. I promise. Let's see. What else did we get asked? Or we had several people mention the podcast, which was phenomenal. I always appreciate that. It's always, I don't know, like I know that people listen, but it's just always kind of almost shocking when people come up to the show and they're like, "Oh, listen to the podcast," or "I heard you say this on the podcast," and it's, I don't know. I guess just putting a face to the listeners is always kind of, it's neat. We're just kind of talking into the camera here and don't really know who all is going to hear it or see it. So it's really cool to have you guys come up to the show and tell us you listen and stuff. So greatly appreciate everybody that did that. That's always nice. Let's see. What else did we do at the show? What else came up at the show? I think, too, this is a kind of a minor thing, but, it used to be at shows that, everybody said cash was king. And everybody knew that, most makers, most exhibitors wanted to be paid in cash if possible. And over the past, I guess it's been a slow trickle over like the last 10 years, just kind of everybody pays for everything with cards now. As we've changed as a society, that's definitely changed at shows, and a lot bigger percentage of people for the past, 5-6 years have paid with cards. But I think for sure a bigger percentage of people paid with cash this year, which was phenomenal. We appreciate that. And So just a quick reminder, if you do go to a show and you can manage to take cash, that's always appreciated by the makers. So it's just because we pay a pretty good chunk in credit card fees, and we don't pass that along to the customers. So we just, whenever somebody pays with a card, we just eat those credit card fees, and it ends up being, especially when you do it all in one weekend like that at a show, it's a pretty good chunk that really hurts my feelings to to see that we're paying out all that for the credit card fees. So, and I know everybody else is the same way. They would like to not have that extra percentage shaved off of there and go to the credit card company. We prefer for it to go to us so that we can reinvest it back in the business. But it's not a big deal. We would much rather you pay with a card than not buy at all. But if you can pay with cash, it's always nice because it does save us. It does save us a little bit since we typically eat those credit card fees. But it was interesting. I don't know what prompted.
I think the whole show was very interesting and not at all what I was expecting. It was by far
agreed,
like the best Texas blade show we've had. This was our 4th year exhibiting. Right. They've all been good, but this one was just extra.
It really stood out. Yeah, it really did. It stood out. It was, again, the people's attitudes, like they're just, everybody was super nice and everybody seemed to be in a great mood and happy and all that, and really, really into the knives. Everybody seemed to be really excited and just happy to be there. And we were too. And again, people spending money, not just with us. At first, I wanted to have the big head and think, we're just doing so well that we're selling way more knives than we did last year. And then as we talked to everybody else, we realized that pretty much the whole show was like that, and everybody was, which I'll take that all day long. I would much rather the entire market be better than just us be doing better and everybody else not doing better, because, rising tide raises all ships, as they say. So I would much rather the entire market be doing better. So I think that's seems to be what it's pointing to. So that's great. So I was already excited about Atlanta, especially knowing some of the stuff we've got planned for it. But now I'm really excited about Atlanta. So, and it will be coming up before we know it. I don't have the exact dates, but it's usually like the
first weekend in June.
Yeah, first weekend in June is when it always is. So those of you, if you're on the fence, about coming, and we see tons of people, especially some of these other shows too, that talk about how they've never been to Atlanta. They've been to some of the smaller shows, guys. That even though we both said that Texas right now is kind of our favorite show, like as a customer, you need to make at least one trip to Atlanta. Like it's like
you need good shoes.
Yeah, we'll give you some tips on it as we get closer. We'll do another episode on getting ready for Atlanta. But yes, it's kind of like the mothership of the knife shows.
You need to go ahead and buy your shoes now so you can be breaking them in.
Well, there you go. That's probably a good point.
You don't need to wait until the last minute. You need to go buy the good tennis shoes now.
Good, comfortable walking shoes, and then those will be taken care of, and you won't be blowing your knife budget at the last minute on shoes. So yeah, that's good thinking, buddy. So yeah, really looking forward to that, and I hope a lot of you guys will come out and join us there, because it's, even though, like I said, we've been bragging on Texas, but Atlanta is it's so big that it can't help but be good. Like it's there's so much to see, especially on the customer end, because there's no way, if you're a knife freak, that you're going to come to that show and not find a gajillion things that you think are super cool and that you want.
I think if anything, people leave a little bit overwhelmed from that one, because it's so much.
Yep.
And it's grown so much in the last, especially 10 years probably.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's very overwhelming, but in a good way. You just, again, we'll probably talk more about it as you get closer, but my thought is always have a game plan, make sure that the stuff that you want to see, you get that mapped out. You go see all that stuff first, get it all checked off.
Well, you come see us first.
Well, yeah, of course. You need to come see us first for sure. So that's a given. Come to Knife Freak Central first, and then go check out all the other cool stuff to show, because there's plenty of other cool stuff. So, all right, I think that's kind of got the show covered pretty well. It was, again, great, lots of fun, cool people. Appreciate all of you that came out, And even all of you that didn't come out, but that showed us a lot of support on our, social media posts and all that, we greatly appreciate you guys. All right, so for a couple of minutes, there's a little bit of news out there.
Well, we were actually on the way home
when we got the news.
When we saw the news.
Yeah.
So.
Not great news inside the knife industry, but I'm sure probably everybody watching or listening to this has probably already heard at this point. There's already tons of posts and YouTube videos, and even Outdoor Life magazine posted a little article on it about the little debacle going on over there at Bark River, which is
what was Bark River
now closed. Yeah. So don't have a lot to say about it, but
other than how damning it is for the industry as a whole, especially for those of us who are actually honest and trying to do it correctly.
It's very frustrating. Not going to lie, it makes me very angry at the people responsible, because even though I don't think it should cast a bad light on the other companies, it does. And we've seen tons of people saying that on posts and stuff, that it calls into question all the other American companies. So for one thing, let me throw this out there. I don't understand why. I get that Bark River was an American-made company, and that they were trying to, fake that they were putting out, American-made knives that were not technically American-made knives. But I don't think that, that's fraud. Let's just call it what it is. That's fraud. I don't think that fraud or dishonesty is limited to American-made companies. Like, I don't think that you can just say that because one American-made company was doing something. Number one, I don't think you should say that because one company was doing it that maybe all the other companies are doing it too, or a bunch of them. That's not fair. And also, it's definitely even less fair to point it just at the American-made companies. Like if there's dishonest people in America, you don't think there's dishonest people in other countries too that are potentially selling you something that's not exactly what they say it is? Like, America's not the only place with dishonest people, I promise you.
Counterfeit knives that they're making.
Prime example. Prime example. So the counterfeit, and I'm not even. So before you guys think I'm going on a China rant, this particular example comes from China. But again, there are dishonest people. I hope there's not any more people that are that dishonest in the knife industry. So I'm not talking about anybody in particular, but in general, there are dishonest people. There are dishonest business people all over the world. Every country has them, and I'm sure there's more in this industry. Probably some from every country that are dishonest and doing things that are shady. But what she's talking about, so for example, on the knockoff knives that are coming out of China that are knockoffs of our knives, they are. If you go to the listing, which I hope none of you are even going and looking at these things, but on the listing where they have them on these Alibaba or whatever these stupid ass sites are where they're listing them, it will say whatever, some crazy alphabet still that it is, but it will say, whatever.
But we mark it.
Blah, 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 steel, marked MagnaCut. And they have MagnaCut lasers on the blade, so it looks trying to make it look exactly like ours. They're literally admitting right there, obviously they're already stealing intellectual property, but then they're also admitting that they're marking it with a different steel than what it is. But nobody talks about that. I haven't seen one person other than us mention that, even though it's plain right there on. They're literally admitting to it on the listing. So if you think that's the only time that those companies or companies in other countries too are doing that, then I think you're pretty naive. So you got to do business no matter what country they come from. You got to do business with people that you can trust. And obviously when something like this happens, that calls things into question. It is what it is. And to be honest with you, that's one of the reasons that I have always shown as much of what goes on inside our shop as I do. And we've got plans to start showing even more of it, because we want to be as transparent as we can with everything that we do. Like, we're proud of what we do, and we're proud of how we do it. So I don't have an issue showing how it's done. And we really don't have any proprietary secrets either. We've had, besides the stuff we show online, we've had multiple other knife makers come in here and, spend the day at the shop and hang out with us and go through every process that we do and look and check it out. And I'm talking about multiple. I can think of at least 3 other, good-sized makers that have been here and stuff. We've had customers come by. We've had them too, and before you think that, oh, well, you're, preparing for them, you're hiding all the bad stuff. We have
Chase
customers
used to work here.
drop in. Yeah, Chase, who, obviously you guys know who he is. I mean, he's another knife maker. And I can tell you, he's an extremely honest, like if we were doing something and being dishonest about it, I guaranteed 100% he'd be a whistleblower. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in a good way. That's how much integrity he has. Like he would not be a part of something like that, and neither would the other people, the other makers and stuff that have been in here. And we have customers. We had one drop in. I guess it's been
a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, maybe close to a month now. I think he had contacted us a few weeks prior. He had some small issue with his.
Like 6 months.
Oh, it'd been a while. Yeah, it'd been like 6 months. He just hadn't never gotten around to sending his knife in or whatever, and he's not too local, but he comes through this way pretty regular. And he just dropped in, and we fixed it. He came in the shop and looked around, and we fixed his knife while he was standing here. So that was a total surprise visit, and he's not the first one that has done that. We've had multiple customers that have come in. So point is, if we were doing some shady stuff, somebody would know by now. And I think that's true of a lot of I know some of the other companies do big events and shop tours and stuff at their place, which I'd love to be able to do one of these days when we get big enough to get organized enough.
There's not much to tour right now.
Yeah, probably after we expand, whenever that happens over the next couple of years. But yeah, so and again, a lot of the other companies show a lot of behind the scenes too. And I promise you, if we were just buying crap and throwing our logo on it to resell it, I promise you I wouldn't have spent all the money on those machines that you sent back here, see back here behind me, because they would have been a waste of money. And you guys see us, videos of them running constantly. And again, we show you the blanks as they come in from water jet, like the whole works. And for those of you that like that kind of stuff, on a better note, we're fixing to do some filming in the next few days that we're going to be able to post even more of that content. We're fixing to get some really good video, hopefully, of kind of a step-by-step how it's made kind of thing. So stay tuned for that. And that was already planned before all this crap happened, well before all this happened. Turned out for us, the timing's pretty good, I guess. But anyway, obviously, it's a total mess. Obviously that nobody should ever be dishonest with what they're doing. You should never, in my opinion, a mistake is when an employee accidentally, grabs a knife and puts the wrong mark on it or something, and God forbid it gets out the door or whatever. That's a honest mistake.
I think we've actually made that mistake before. Maybe with the stalkers.
Maybe, but we did not set once we realized it.
Yeah,
we realized it and fixed it. They didn't go out and get sold and get into customers' hands. So we made the mistake inside the shop. We didn't make the mistake of letting them get out the door. We did have some.
We didn't, however, make the mistake of buying Chinese blanks.
That's not a mistake. That's 100% a decision. Yeah, there's a lot of thought and a lot of planning and a lot of figuring out how to take that and turn that into something that you can sell that you're passing off as your own. That's not a mistake. That's premeditated. that's not cool. So not going to get into bless you. Not going to get into throwing shade at people, but just so you guys know where we stand and how we feel about it. That's not a mistake. That's a pre-planned, premeditated thing that was done that was not right. It was a bad decision. There's a difference between a bad decision and a mistake, in my mind.
Well, I think my thing about it is that I feel really bad for DLT because they had so much invested in it.
I do too.
And Jason is a good guy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will put my 2 cents in on that. So I've seen several people, because Jason and DLT were so closely involved with Bark River and they've been one of their brands that they pushed a fair amount, over the years. And I think he truly liked the brand and wanted it to do well, and so he had helped wherever he could. But knowing Jason and the way he's treated us and knowing everything, plus knowing the kind of businessman that Jason is, I'm telling you right now, there's no chance that he would not be smart enough to realize that would come back to bite him if he'd have known that was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way he would have taken a risk. Like some of the other stuff he's talked to us about, you know, about making sure everything's on the up and up or whatever in the past, or just, you know, there's not a chance that he would risk his business, you know, on something that shady and that crazy. So, yeah, I don't believe for one second that they knew. Did they know that Fork River was having financial problems and stuff? I'm sure they did, but that's a far cry from defrauding people. Like, you can be on hard times and your business be struggling and still doing the right thing, and somebody try to help you. Like, that's noble, you know. But I think there's zero chance, in my opinion, there's less than zero chance that, you know, Jason knew there was anything shady or, you know, defrauding going on with people like that. No way. I said, number one, he's got too good a character. Number two, he's too good of a businessman to take a risk like that over something that basically kind of silly, honestly. I mean, that's just kind of crazy to me that, you know, I don't know. I don't know all the details of even why they supposedly felt the need to do it, but it's people find a reason to cut corners all the time, and it happens, unfortunately. I don't think most of the time it's quite that egregious, you know. They just maybe don't do as good a work on their product as they do. When I say they, I mean just people in general, when people cut corners. But doing something dishonest and fraudulent like that's a whole nother level. So, and it's unfortunate, but I will say this, guys, for those of you that are saying, you know, oh, it calls all the other American companies into question and all that, keep this in mind, guys, that every show that we go to, there's somebody steals something somewhere in the show. Like somebody picks something up off the table. Thankfully, I did not hear anything about that at the Texas show, but I'm sure it happened. I mean, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. We talked to very few other makers. I'm sure it happened. It's happened to us at least one show. And I don't think that you guys as customers would appreciate if the manufacturers, the makers, looked at every customer that walked by our table as if they were a thief, because obviously they're not. Obviously, it's a tiny percentage of people that are at a show that would do something like that. And that's kind of the same thing. Like we know that happens. We know people steal from us, but we don't look at every customer like they're a thief just because one bad egg was in the group or whatever. And I feel like that's a pretty good comparison for, you know, the other side of it. You know, just because one company did something shady does not mean that every company does something shady. Like, not at all. So, and I can just tell you, like, that's, you know, when people get desperate, they do stupid stuff a lot of times. Again, I don't know all the details of what the motivation was behind it, but obviously they were in financial trouble. So, like, that's, you know, and I can just tell you, like, we're not kingpins, but we're not in financial trouble. We're still growing. We added machines last year. We're looking at adding more stuff this year. Like, we're still growing and doing good. So, and a lot of the other companies that I know of out there are in the same boat. And so, you know, a company struggling financially would be a little bit of a red flag to me, if anything, if you're going to look for, you know, potential problems. But again, every company that struggles financially doesn't mean they're willing to do shady stuff either, by any means. So, but just like keep an open mind, guys, and be fair about it, and recognize that just because one shady person who apparently also, I don't want to like spread rumors and stuff, but from most of the stuff that I've heard, there was some other issues in the past. I don't know what all, but there apparently been some other negative stuff in the past with the people involved. So just, you know, reputation, I feel like, means a lot, and we work really hard to try to maintain a good reputation, mainly because you get a good reputation by treating people right and doing the right thing, and that's how we try to live our lives. So we're not doing it for the sake of our reputation. Your reputation comes if you do the right thing and you treat people right, and that's how we try to live. So
is that how we ended up with the fifth dog?
I think so. We hadn't ended up with a fifth dog yet. We're still fostering at the moment. I hope we can. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, I don't really have, you know, again, I don't know enough of the facts. I'm not going to sit here and speculate about every little detail of what might have happened and all the rumor mill and all that. There's been statements put out, so we know a certain amount of stuff, and that's my biggest takeaway from it is don't assume that just because one person was shady that everybody else is shady. I mean, again, that's there's probably somebody in your neighborhood that's shady. That doesn't mean because they're your neighbor, that doesn't mean that you're shady. It's just that's life. There's going to be a certain percentage of shady folks out there. So, and when they show themselves, then you steer away from them and move on.
And you definitely believe them the first time.
Yeah, somebody shows you they're shady, believe them, because that means they're probably shady. Pretty much guaranteed. So, all right. So next week, we may. I really want to try to get a guest lined up for next week, but we'll see. We've got some guests that we really want to have that we're trying to work out to maybe be able to do in-person stuff with. So that's delaying it a little bit. That makes it a little harder to do, but I really want to get some more guests on here pretty soon. So we'll try to see this, see if we can get that going pretty quick. But if not, we'll find something for me to ramble about, I'm sure. Maybe something for her to call me out on. We'll see. There's plenty of that to go around too.
One time.
One time. So far.
And just so y'all know, he loves it.
Yeah. Hey, I got to have somebody to keep me in check. And you're the perfect woman for the job, ain't you?
That's right.
That's right. I appreciate it. Can't let the old head get too big. Yep. All right, guys. We greatly appreciate you. Again, for everybody that came out to the show, greatly appreciate you guys coming by. It was phenomenal to see everybody. If we happen to miss somebody and all the craziness, apologize. Hopefully we can catch you at the next one. And, go ahead and be thinking about Blade Show Atlanta. If you can at all possibly make it, I highly recommend coming out. I know we're going to have lots of cool stuff there, and I'm sure all the other companies are planning on doing the same thing. So, and we know there will be lots of good people there. All right, we appreciate you. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, guys.
See y'all.